Richard. From the beginning, in our meeting in Oslo, and here there are Gabriela Nicota, Manuela Maciel, Marcia Karp, Iafi Spirer, that we worked together, Judith Tesari, of course, Eva Falston and Melinda, we worked together on the importance of no re-traumatize the victims of trauma. And I want to focus on some tools that we can use in psychodrama, especially how to use ritual and dreams. Some of you maybe see already my presentation is a collection of our ideas and wars, migration, leave deep wounded in people and individuals and destroyed social and occupational functioning. The resulting of a trauma is a wound, a laceration that brings permanent energy economy, disorder of the psyche. There is our friend that was here, Luciano Moura, de Portugal. He is still for more than 20 years working in a group with the soldier that were with him in Angola. And sometimes come up a very big trauma, and he had to handle because this soldier inside feel the pain, and in the life they can feel like at that time in that trauma. The war of 21st century are also the war that are in the Mediterranean. War means what happens in a boat where migrants are coming to Europe. War is also when the first minister, the Minister of Internal Affairs in Italy don't give the possibility to be in an harbor because it's a strong conflict that makes sufferance and death sometimes. Wars are made by people, and people suffering by wars. In our symposium of our task force in Granada University, that was created by Natasha Navarro, we understood that in the wars, 90% of victims are civil, not military. And now the battlefield are the house. And the average duration of the war in our time is 20 years. This means that when a war starts, like for example, Ukraine and Russia, can continue for 20 years. This is the average of the war that they studied. You know, post-traumatic stress. Here I want to remember our meeting of the Task Force for Peace Building and Conflict Transformation in Oslo, Stockholm, Turin, Uppsala, Sofia. In Iseo we had in the Psychodrama conference a panel in Istanbul, in Granada, and we are organized the next for the next year. We meet every 2 months on Zoom, and for example, we changed officially in the European Federation our name that before was Task Force for Peace and Conflict Resolution. Now we changed in and conflict transformation, because we reflect on the fact that conflict cannot be resolved but transformed. We can have conflict transformation. Here are all the name of the colleagues that are contributed to my presentation and our work together. we worked in some difficult country after war. Also, some members that are in connection with our task force worked in Central and North and South America. The task force has some goal: to study and carry out research on the use of Moreno's teaching and tools on collective trauma. We started after a speech in Vienna, where a researcher teaches us how the work of Moreno, the sociometry, the warming up, the sociodrama, psychodrama, are a discipline of peace building. So we say, why we don't use these tools everywhere? To offer seminar on peace building, conflict transformation, to work in groups with the workers of trauma survivors, like war, refugee, environmental disaster. The task is not to work with the victims, but are victims also the worker that are working, and they need protection, as you say, Richard, many times, and Eva. So we work with the workers, and also to do intervention among the members of the task force who work as individual members with groups in helping the helpers in this intervention. And for example, I hope that in the future, in the project of intervention, Yafi Spear can coordinate a group of intervention online about trauma among the members. We will have a meeting at lunchtime. I wanted to reflect about the therapeutic aspects of psychodrama with traumatized victims. We spoke a lot about to create a safe space, but a safe space is also inside, is not only geographically. You and Pina Diana share that in the camp is not possible to have a safe space for the refugees. So, for example, in Ukraine, during the war, I had a protagonist that had a dream, and a dream was a nightmare, with aeroplane bombing, houses destroyed, and she, in the dream, did not find a safe space. So the work with the protagonist was to create a safe space in the scene, a safe space inside. That was that the trees were make a refuge for her, and we put a role that was not in the dream, an helper role, the husband that was watching her with love, and they act together in the dream like a safe space inside the dream. In psychodrama, we reenact, we use action to represent, and it's very important the cognitive reprocessing that we can have with action inside. This comes from Peter Felix Kellerman's work on trauma, and the victim of trauma has a lot of energy, and we need to work with the emotional catharsis, with a discharge of surplus energy. We give possibility to shout, to paint, to use art, to express the surplus energy. Moreno teaches us to use surplus reality, where we can work as if. So we play without, in the frame of surplus reality, in the frame of theater, in the frame of play, without use violence. And it's so important, the interpersonal support. Can be the tele, can be the director of psychodrama that is very close to the protagonist's suffering. In fact, we discovered that the main skill that we need to teach to our students is to be close to the suffering of the protagonist and not escape. It's also the doubling is an interpersonal support, the sharing, the personal sharing of the group. We have now some study and application about to use the tapping that comes also from EMDR, and I had experience with Manuela of it, to have an integration of the trauma. I use in the group in Palestine, in Ramallah, before in front of a traumatic scene, to teach the tapping to the protagonist, and then help the protagonist to find a safe place, to create a safe place and go in the same place, and follow this with, for example, the self-tapping of butterfly. It's better when it's the protagonist that make the tapping with butterfly effect. I use a lot dream and therapeutical rituals, dreams for an elaboration of the trauma without to play the real trauma. Because dreams are full of symbols, and symbols can take the energy of opposite, and dreams can elaborate with a more soft way, because they are not playing the reality. And we can have a therapeutical ritual to hold the group. When we work on trauma in Oslo, start to think that we go in a third place, in a third language. Is the language of play, theater, poetry, dreams, fairy tales, place of symbols that contain opposite side, opposite energy. Symbols are form of collective memories, phenomena understood as stabilizing factor for society's self-image and identity. Symbols are inevitable part of every large group culture. We started yesterday and we finish in the large group with a song that has symbols. They are also inevitable part of our identity. The influence forming of both large group identity and personal identity. They are part of the collective national consciousness, their rituals, national symbols, fairy tales, and story. For example, you said that the flag of Palestine was not possible to show for many years. The flag is a symbol of national identity, and I remember in a play in Ramallah, on the after that it was a body that was disintegrated, the protagonist needed to put all the body together, and then she was alone with a dead person. And I asked her, and now what you want to do? And she started to paint the Palestinian flag and put on the body. It's like to try to give life to the national identity. And then I asked, and now maybe you need a group. and they did a funerary ritual. They pray together, they sing together. This means that we can use ritual, funerary ritual, to work with the group together. When we arrive in Ukraine, with the Task Force for Peace building, and we work with 50 therapists, and Judith and Nevzat were in this group, and Leandra Perrotta, and we, the first dream was a dream where the dreamer dreamt the dead people and the wounded people on the field, and became a ritual to bury the dead people and to heal the wounded soldier and heroes of the revolution, they said also, because it was a revolution in Maidan 6 months before, but was a large group work starting from a dream. Dream can help to elaborate the trauma. In Israel, one Jewish colleague has a dream that an Arab tried to explode himself close to her. And I asked, have you any memory of some terrorist, someone that tried? She said, no. Then when we played the dream, and it was an Arab that was, an auxiliary god that was the Arab that ran close to her to exploded. And when in the role reverse, she was the Arab that wanted to explode, she said, I remember, in the campus, an Arab exploded himself, and I see the blood, and 3 students was dead. So the trauma split the memory of the real events. So with dream we can bring out the memory without to play the real situation, and is from some research a good way to not to re-traumatize. And dreams can elaborate the aggressivity. I want to remember that we have also transgenerational trauma. And for example, Chaim Weinberg speaks about chosen trauma and social unconsciousness. The social unconsciousness is the constructed shared unconsciousness of members of a certain social system, such as a community, society, nation, or culture. It includes shared anxiety, fantasy, defense, might, and memory. Its build bricks are made of chosen trauma and chosen glories. And it's important in large groups to be more aware of our chosen trauma and chosen these are mental representations that are shared, and these can activate also a lot of conflict if we are not aware of this trauma. I want to finish speaking some more about rituals. Similar to symbols, they are part of collective unconsciousness. They represent historical memory as well as historical traumatic events of certain large group. I was born in Roma. Roma was made 7th century before Christ and started from two brothers. And one, Romolo, killed the brother Remo because of a problem of boundaries. And this makes a lot in our culture. They are part of the ritual of large group identity, like playing the anthem, procession, parade, ritual like Thanksgiving, are part of religious ceremony, and it's important to play and to work on it in psychodrama. Memoria and funerary rituals. How many times in psychodrama we played funerary ritual? I remember a psychodrama group run by Hans Schutzenberger in Oxford, and you were there, and it was a Russian colleagues that the father was dead in a gulag. And he cannot cry on the tomb of the father. And Dan said, you have to find a tomb where you can cry the father. And we did in psychodrama. There are rituals of gratitude that help in the transmission from war to peace period. And rituals of confidentiality. How is important confidentiality? And in Morenian psychodrama, we have also the ritual of will of secret, where we promise to share confidentiality among us. We need to create with confidentiality, with setting, a safe space for groups. Thank you.